So Jamin asked what a better alternative to a savings account is, and this is a great question. One, because inflation is crazy high right now. Like the last report that came out in March 2022 said that inflation was at 8.5%, and that means that if your money isn't earning more than the inflation rate, you're losing purchasing power and your money is losing value over time. And two, your money needs to grow more than what a savings account provides over time to be able to hit your bigger, more long-term financial goals. I came up with the phrase save for security, invest for independence, because you do need to have some cash on hand in a savings account because emergencies happen, and this could be anywhere from 3 to 12 months of your personal living expenses, and that's for security. And then the second half is independence, and that's where you're going to start investing your money to let it grow over time. Here's a quick chart that shows the difference between having money in a savings account, which this thing shows 2%, that's pretty ambitious, versus an investment account earning a little less than 5.5%. And as you can tell, the difference is massive, and that's only a $20,000 investment. Imagine how impactful that would be over a lifetime of savings and investing. So some of the alternatives: number one, at least have a high yield savings account, which isn't going to get you crazy returns, like most of them are around 0.5%, but it's way more than what you're going to get at a brick and mortar bank. The nice thing about those is that you can have kind of like separate savings buckets. So you could have your emergency fund, you could have a travel fund, you could have a down payment fund, and just like visually be able to see like where all your savings are. And two similar alternatives to a savings account that can provide a little bit higher interest rates are certificates of deposits, or CDs, or money market accounts at your bank. But outside of savings accounts, taxable investment accounts are one of the most popular options, and that's what you would get when you open an account at like Robinhood or Public, apps like that. And within taxable accounts, anytime you buy or sell or get dividends or take profit, you are generally going to be taxed at long-term or short-term capital gains rates, which vary depending on your income. And you can invest in really just about anything within a taxable investment account, which is why they're so popular. But then on the other hand, there are tax advantaged retirement accounts, which would be like a 401k, an IRA, a SEP IRA if you're self-employed. These accounts generally give you a tax deduction whenever you contribute, and then you have to pay taxes at retirement. Or on the other hand, a Roth account, where you don't get any tax break in the current year whenever you put money into the account, but then you get the money tax-free at retirement. And outside of the traditional options, of course, there's crypto. And before you invest any money in crypto, I always recommend to kind of know your goals and your risk tolerance before doing so, because that's going to influence how you manage the investments and when you choose to sell. And I generally recommend to only invest money that you're comfortable with seeing go up and down 50% in any given day, because that is a reality when you're investing in crypto. It's a fun alternative. I invest money in crypto, but you need to make sure that you are educated and that you have your financial foundations taken care of before placing any additional risk on your money. And the complete opposite of crypto, an absolutely boring investment, are I-bonds. And these are securities issued by the government that are supposed to keep up with inflation. And essentially, they're like a certificate of deposit or a savings account where the interest rate changes twice a year to match whatever the inflation rate is. And generally, as an individual, you can buy $10,000 worth of I-bonds per year, or an additional $5,000 if you use your federal tax refund. And lastly, there are a lot of user-friendly alternative investing platforms like Rally Road, which lets you invest in collectibles, VinoVest that lets you invest in wine, and Fundrise that lets you invest in real estate. And these can be a great way to diversify and potentially earn extra returns, because you're getting access to investments that you typically wouldn't get access to, and you need to make sure that you're kind of educated around what that all entails and take your risk tolerance into account. But to wrap it up, some of the most popular alternative investment options are high yield savings accounts, taxable investment accounts, retirement accounts, crypto, I-bonds, and alternative investing platforms.